everyone, and welcome to Let's Ask the Lawyer. I'm your host, Heather Brinkley. I'm not a lawyer, however, I am a spokesperson who has questions about the law just like you. The focus of today's discussion will be about serious injuries, the legal system, and your rights. Today's guest is trial lawyer Matt Powell. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you.
We're going to ask Matt some questions about important issues such as how our rights are affected by tort reform, rising medical costs, higher taxes, insurance, medical malpractice, and many more areas that affect you and your family. But before we get started, let me tell you a little bit more about our guest. Matt is a trial lawyer who helps individuals and families that have suffered a serious injury or the death of a loved one. He is board certified as a civil trial lawyer by the Florida Bar, and he's board certified by the National Board of Trial Advocacy. Matt practices law in the historic Hutchinson House in Tampa, Florida. He's been an advocate for the injured for over 20 years. He is a frequent lecturer teaching other lawyers about how to handle wrongful death and injury cases. So please, sit back and listen closely as Let's Ask the Lawyer starts right now. Welcome back to Let's Ask the Lawyer. I'm your host, Heather Brinkley, and joining me today is attorney Matt Powell. Matt is a board-certified civil trial lawyer, and he has focused his career on helping injured victims and their families. He is a graduate of the Florida State College of Law, where he graduated with honors in 1987. He started working for an insurance defense law firm that represented numerous insurance companies, hospitals, and doctors. Matt was defending claims brought against those clients. In less than a year, he stopped working for the defense and began his own practice representing injured victims. Matt, welcome to the show. Let me start by asking, what do you do as a lawyer, and what types of cases do you handle?
Heather, thank you for having me. I represent people and families who've suffered a loss, such as a wrongful death or injuries caused by trucking accidents, motorcycle accidents, or car crashes. Also, injuries or death caused from medical malpractice, defective products, or inadequate security. Any type of tragedy where someone suffers a catastrophic injury caused needlessly by another who violates a safety rule.
Well, let's jump right in. What do you mean by catastrophic injuries?
Catastrophic injuries range from brain injuries to quadriplegia. Brain injuries can range from a person being in a vegetative state to personality changes and memory loss that affect their ability to work. The loss of a limb or even a thumb can have a very devastating effect on a person's quality of life. Anyone who has lost the ability to walk, move, or care for themselves has suffered a catastrophic injury.
And what causes these catastrophic injuries?
Catastrophic injuries are caused by people and corporations that violate safety rules. Many times, catastrophic injuries are caused by corporations putting profits over safety, by having their truck drivers drive too many hours, and by not requiring vehicle inspections and making them replace worn-out tires and brakes. Or when companies make and sell dangerous products to the public which end up hurting hundreds of people. Some catastrophic injuries are caused by overworked medical facilities where doctors and nurses can't keep up with the overwhelming amount of patients because a big corporation makes more profits by understaffing. Some catastrophic injuries are allowed to happen when criminals attack, rape, rob, and injure people because adequate security measures have not been taken by the hotel or apartment complex, creating a situation where a criminal can easily attack an innocent victim and then escape undetected. Or when companies hire dangerous people without doing a background check and their new employee then attacks, rapes, or injures customers. These are just a few examples. There are many other ways people are needlessly victimized through no fault of their own.
And what should a person do if a family member suffers a serious injury? Should they call your office?
Yes, call my office immediately to learn your rights. We all know that the family is the ultimate safety net, the essential circle, and the loss or injury to any one member of the family affects everyone. The children, the spouse, and even the parents. They need to learn their rights to protect themselves. They should call a lawyer right away.
Will it cost them money to speak with you about their injury case?
No, there's no charge to talk with me. I'm glad to talk with anyone about a serious injury or death claim. I will be glad to give a free consultation.
What do you find most surprising about working with clients who have suffered a catastrophic injury?
What is most surprising for me is how expensive it is to take care of an injured victim. The medical costs are so high for just basic care, and then you add that to the lost income the person was earning or could earn. We tend to take for granted our good health and our ability to move around freely, and when that's taken away, it's very expensive to make up for these types of losses.
Let's talk more about that. How much does it cost to take care of them?
Well, in many cases, it costs millions of dollars to take care of a catastrophically injured person. For example, if a victim is totally bedridden and needs around-the-clock care, the nursing care can cost from $20 to $75 per hour. Multiply this by the number of days a person's going to live, and it reaches a very large number. The injured person may need all sorts of specialized equipment to help them move around, eat, bathe, do everyday things that we take for granted. This specialized equipment is very expensive. These people need all sorts of therapy to help maintain some quality of life. Physical therapy to help keep them flexible and strong so their bones and muscles don't atrophy away. Then factor in transportation costs for the victim, special vans, ramps, etc. Cognitive therapy for some people to help them cope with what's happening to them, to help them communicate, speech therapy, vocational therapy, medical expenses, physical therapy, doctor visits, medication, catheters, diapers, bed changing, laundry expenses, all designed to help relieve suffering and add to the quality of their life. Or in contrast to the high quality care, think about someone who doesn't have the necessary resources to pay for these expenses. They will likely be put in a state-funded center. They may find themselves without therapies and services they need. And quite oftentimes, the state-funded centers don't have the capacity to provide high-quality care.
And what type of experts do you use to help your catastrophically injured clients in a jury trial?
Every case is different, but in many cases, I use experts like accident reconstructionists, engineers, treating physicians, day-in-the-life video producers, vocational rehabilitation experts, life care planners, and in many cases, economists.
Tell us about these experts and how they help your clients.
Liability experts help the jury understand how the accident happened and who is at fault. And I use engineers for defective product cases. They help us understand how and why the product failed. Human factors experts to explain how people have reaction times to see things and react to them, and how these human limitations in perception and recognition of danger create situations that injure or kill people. We need our clients' physicians as well.
Treating doctors must play an important role.
Oh yes, doctors are needed to explain what injuries my client is suffering from and to explain the medical tests that were used to diagnose my client's injuries. Also, the doctors are the best people to explain how the injury will affect my client and what treatment and therapy will be needed in the future to keep the person at their highest level of comfort and productivity.
What is a day in the life video?
A day in the life video is a short video that I will use to show a jury how difficult my client's typical day is. For you and I, getting up, getting dressed, getting out of the door every morning is quite easy. But for a catastrophically injured person, they face a ton of barriers. It's sometimes monumentally difficult for them to do simple things. Catastrophically injured people live a life of frustration, pain, and depression caused by their lack of mobility and lack of independence. By showing a jury how frustrating my client's life is from their injuries, it makes it easier for them to determine a value for these losses.
Tell us what a vocational rehabilitation expert does.
They help get my clients back to work if it's at all possible. They answer questions for us like what type of retraining might help them, or what types of jobs they may be able to do, or how can we keep them active and productive.
What is a life care planner?
A life care planner is an expert who meets with my client's treating doctors. The doctors tell my life care planner what medical needs will be necessary in the future for my client. The life care planner formulates a detailed plan for the future medical care and needs. By putting together a full list of the future medical treatments, therapies, medication, testing, follow-up appointments, lists of equipment that my client will need, any modifications to their home that may be necessary to improve my client's quality of life, this enables me to explain to the jury why it takes so many resources to care for a person who is needlessly injured by a safety rule violator. A life care planner asks the doctors how many times a year my client should see a neurologist. The answer may be 2 times a year. And how many times they should see their primary care physician. That may be 4 times a year. Or if they need MRIs, they may need them twice a year. And how much medication they will need each day, and how much physical therapy they'll need each year, and how much vocational therapy will help them. Then they look up the average price for each type of need to formulate accurate costs for the future care. Then this information is given to an economist.
And how does an economist use this information?
Economists calculate and quantify in dollars the cost of the future needs that my client will have. They tell us in today's dollars what it will take to help the person meet their future financial obligations of care. They also calculate the lost earning capacity of my client as well.
Are these experts expensive?
Yes, these experts are very expensive. For example, to have your treating doctor come to court for 1 hour to explain your condition, they have to close down their practice for at least 3 hours, and that is very costly. Other experts that fly in from out of state may charge up to $10,000 a day for their time.
And what are the medical costs for, let's say, a severely brain-injured young adult?
That's a great question. And in some cases, when a person who is in their 20s is severely brain damaged due to the fault of another, the costs and losses are in the tens of millions of dollars. 24-hour attendant care, feeding them, bathing them, moving them, providing the necessary care and treatment can cost $20 or $30 million over their lifetime.
Why not let the state pay for these medical costs?
It's all about responsibility. If you let safety rule violators get away with not paying for the losses that they've caused, then these dangerous rule breakers will keep breaking the rules and spread the danger to our families. If the rule breakers are not held accountable for their actions, they will never change. And more importantly, why should you and me, the taxpayers, foot the bill for these high costs? Our taxes are high enough without having to pay for millions of dollars of care that some other person or corporation caused. And why should the family of the victim have to be financially ruined by the cost to keep their family member as healthy as possible? If we don't put the responsibility where it belongs, then we all become victims of the wrongdoer's negligence.
What other types of losses are important for us to think about?
Well, think about this. Even if all the past and future medical bills are paid, and the past and future lost wages are paid, there is still not a single penny for the victim's quality of life. That's why the law says that victims should be paid for their loss of the enjoyment of life. Think about how a quadriplegic victim feels. They have virtually no quality of life because of their injuries. Think about how anyone who has an amputation, blindness, or loss of mobility is suffering from these losses every day. We all hold certain things very near and dear to our hearts, such as the absence of pain. So when someone has lifelong pain, they have lost a valuable part of their life. The loss of the enjoyment of life, this is a real and tangible thing. We can't see it, but we all value it. Mental anguish is another valuable right that the law says you are entitled to. People who are injured deserve to live their lives without mental anguish, which is the worry and concern they may feel about how will they take care of themselves or their family, how they will pay their bills, how they will be able to get medical care they need, and how much it will cost for medicine, nursing care, wheelchairs, or 100 other things that if they were not injured, they would never even think about. We have to make up for what can't be helped and what can't be fixed. Many people call this pain and suffering, And that's a very important part of my client's case. No one would voluntarily agree to suffer this type of pain and suffering every day.
But what does that really mean, pain and suffering?
Pain and suffering is sort of a buzzword, but the victims of a catastrophic injury feel like an outcast. They experience very deep feelings of loneliness and isolation. They feel abandoned and cut off from their family, cut off from friends, workers, social groups. This is a devastating loss. They can't manage their own lives. They feel like their lives are out of control. To answer your question, I use the analogy of going to a dentist and having the experience of pain as they drill on your teeth. And suffering is knowing that you have to come back tomorrow for more drilling. Catastrophically injured people feel constant pain and know that it won't go away. They may feel absolute unrelenting suffering.
Let me ask you about caps on damages. I hear about politicians talking about capping damages. Doesn't that help all of us?
Insurance companies and big corporations want to create caps on damages to protect irresponsible people and companies who hurt others. Caps really hurt the people who need the most help. Putting a cap on your pain and suffering with some arbitrary number is cruel. Why should a quadriplegic have to be limited to $250,000 for pain and suffering for the rest of their life? The average American lives 25,000 days. A person who is catastrophically injured at age 32 has about 15,000 days of pain and suffering and their loss of their ability to enjoy life ahead of them. This works out to less than $15 a day for having to be locked into a bed and confined to a wheelchair. And to wear a catheter to urinate, to wear diapers every day, to have someone change them, it's barbaric to set arbitrary caps on damages. Let a jury decide what is fair. Don't let the government force these numbers on anyone. Our jury system is the cornerstone of what makes America so great. Let's not take away what makes America so great by using caps to limit what a jury decides is fair for the sake of protecting non-breathing corporations and insurance companies. Companies claim that caps are good, but what they are really saying is that they are good for companies, not for the greater good, which is all of us.
And what does it cost to hire you? Is it expensive?
No, it's not expensive. When you hire me, there's no upfront costs. I work on a contingency fee basis, which means that I'm paid only if I win your case. And I pay the costs as I work on your case. If we don't win, you don't pay any attorney's fees or costs.
Are there time limits that we should worry about?
Yes, there are very critical time limits in Florida called statutes of limitations, which means you have only 2 years to file suit for a wrongful death case or medical malpractice, and only 4 years for many other types of cases. So never wait, because time is not on your side, and you risk forfeiting your right to any recovery if you wait too long.
How should someone choose a lawyer? What questions should they be asking?
You should choose a lawyer who is a board-certified civil trial lawyer. Ask the lawyer if they are board certified. Ask them if they've taken a case like yours all the way through a trial with a jury. Ask the lawyer if they teach other lawyers how to do better at trial. Ask the lawyer if they've written any books on the subject of injury cases. You may want a lawyer who files suit and takes cases all the way to trial. One that the insurance companies knows will file a suit and go all the way if necessary. Insurance companies keep track of lawyers' prior cases, and they know whether the lawyer will take your case to trial or not. Your lawyer's experience may be an important factor in how much the insurance company will offer you to settle your case. They keep track of lawyers that just settle cases without filing suit. And before you hire a lawyer, be sure they will take your case all the way to trial if that is what's necessary.
I've heard about insurance bad faith. What is that?
Bad faith is when the insurance companies won't offer to pay the policy limits on a serious case, and they put their customer at risk to have to pay more than their insurance policy limits by refusing to pay fair value to settle a claim when they should have, and forcing their insured to go unnecessarily to trial. The insurance companies do this to save them money. They try and buy releases for their insured at a wholesale price, but at the risk of hurting their customer. The insurance company puts their own financial interests ahead of their customers' financial interests. You and I have paid insurance premiums for years to protect ourselves and our families, and you should be very upset when they don't protect you and they put their financial profits ahead of your financial well-being.
You know, if I was on a jury, I might think, hey, your client is hurt really bad, but I don't want to bankrupt that nice little old lady who you were suing. What happens in these situations? Will the nice little old lady be made bankrupt by a large verdict?
Most likely no. The person who caused the catastrophic injury won't be forced into bankruptcy. When a case goes all the way to trial, you can be reasonably sure that the lawyers offered to settle the case for the policy limits well before the suit was even filed. When the insurance limits are low and the insurance company chooses not to pay the policy limits, but instead forces a suit being filed against their customer, the insurance company has acted in bad faith. Eventually, the insurance company ends up insuring the verdict. So you can relax. The insurance policy limits do not matter because the insurance company will be paying the verdict, not the nice little old lady.
Does the jury get to see everything, or are there things that are hidden from the jury?
No, the jury doesn't get to see everything. Many things are hidden from the jury, such as crash reports and traffic tickets. You will almost never hear who got a ticket. And in a DUI case, the fact that the driver was drunk may be hidden from the jury until after a verdict is rendered. When someone is hurt by a dangerous condition and at the fault of some company and they fix the dangerous condition, the jury will never hear about the repairs being made. And insurance limits are almost never told to the jury.
So, do jurors need to know or be concerned about insurance when they're deciding a verdict?
That's a great question, and the answer is no. One of the most important jury instructions is that sympathy should not play a part in deliberations. And sympathy goes both ways. You should not feel sympathy for either side. As a juror, you are deciding what is fair reimbursement for the losses suffered by the injured victim or their surviving family members. The losses are not ever to be based upon the defendant's ability to pay. If a jury considers the ability of the defendant to pay the judgment, then you have an improper deliberation leading to an unfair verdict.
And what should a juror do if this were to come up in deliberations?
The juror should notify the bailiff and tell the judge about the improper deliberations so the judge can correct the problem right away.
What do you think about the jury system in America? Is it a good system, or should we change it?
The jury system is what makes America a great country. Some people have paid the ultimate price so that we can have a free country with a jury to protect our rights. There are some of our brothers and sisters fighting right now to protect the right to a trial by jury. Our forefathers knew that a jury system was the only way individuals could protect their rights from rich and powerful interests. Lady Justice is blind, and the jury is the one thing that protects the little person from big corporations and insurance companies who want to take away our rights. We have to be on guard against efforts to take the jury system away. Watch out for contracts that say you waive the right to a jury trial and that you have to instead go to an arbitration, where the case is private and the rights can be violated without anyone's concern. Watch out for caps on damages. Let a jury decide what is fair compensation rather than some arbitrary number that big business and a legislature thought up. Rich and powerful companies are trying to take away our rights to a jury trial. These are important rights, and if we are not careful, we will give these rights away to the rich and powerful, and once these rights are gone, we will never get them back.
And what can we do to help protect the jury system in America?
Refuse to sign arbitration agreements. Many doctors are putting these clauses in the paperwork you sign when you go to them as a patient. Also, be very wary of big business spending tons of money to influence judge elections. Like when a judge comes up for retention, ask yourself, why would big business spend so much money to suggest that a judge should be thrown off the bench? Usually, the politics behind having a judge removed from the bench is that they will be replaced by judges who are willing to help big business at the expense of the individual's rights.
Matt, could you tell me what kind of insurance is important for me and my family to have to protect ourselves?
You and your family should have uninsured motorist stacked insurance. This is very important to have because it will protect you and your family when you are in any type of car accident, no matter where you are. For example, if you're walking, riding a bike, riding in your car, or riding in someone else's car and are injured by someone else who does not have any or enough insurance, then your insurance company will pay for your damages up to your policy limits. And about half the cars on the roads in Florida don't carry bodily injury insurance. So you better carry uninsured motorist insurance to protect you and your family.
Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, you are board certified by the Florida Bar and the National Board of Trial Advocacy. What does that mean for your clients?
It means that I've tried a lot of cases and I've been evaluated by other trial lawyers and by the judges that I've tried cases with. I've taken an examination and passed the test. I agree to uphold the highest levels of ethics, and I take extra education classes to be certified. Also, it's important to know that less than 1% of lawyers in Florida are board-certified civil trial lawyers.
Matt, we're almost at the end of the show. Are there any final thoughts that you'd like to share?
Heather, thank you for having me. And my final thoughts would be, we all think about good health and enjoying our lives, but sometimes, through no fault of our own, our life can be tragically changed by someone who needlessly violates a safety rule. The American jury system is the best in the world, and it is what makes America a great country. But big business and insurance companies want to take your rights away. They want to get rid of the jury system so they can break safety rules, hurt people, and get away without having to pay for their negligence. Every day, big corporations want to weaken the jury system for their own benefit. So I urge everyone to learn as much as you can and use your voice to help keep America strong. Our jury system is the best in the world, and if we don't protect it, we will forever lose one of the things that makes this country great.
What can someone do if they have more questions or if they want more information about their legal right?
Please check out my website at mattlaw.com, and if that does not answer your question, please call my office and I will be glad to give you a free consultation to discuss your injury or death case.
Thank you very much, Matt. And thank you for watching Let's Ask the Lawyer.